Hi, today I'm making a video about 4 principles or rules of self-appreciation that will help you release sadness, stress, anxiety, and depression, and will also improve your life in every way. Okay? And the first one is to see and treat yourself with love, kindness, and compassion. Okay? The more you can see yourself with love, kindness, and compassion, and treat yourself with love, kindness, and compassion, the least suffering you will experience in your life. Because once you start seeing and treating yourself with love, kindness, and compassion, there is very little space for suffering. Okay? There are two thoughts and two ways of thinking that cannot live on the same abstract space, and they cannot live on the same universe. So the more you keep going up that emotional scale of seeing and treating yourself with love, kindness, and compassion for yourself and for others, the least you are susceptible to suffering. And that is a universal rule of the universe, of human beings, of God, if you want to call it like that. Just a universal truth that can't be changed. That's just the way humans are built to be. And our consciousness is built to be. So let's go to the next one. The next one is to accept and forgive yourself and others. So as you learn to accept everything about yourself, with your flaws and your virtues, okay, and you learn to forgive yourself for all those mistakes, and you learn to forgive others, you also take responsibility for your life. And you empower yourself to improve yourself. So if you do not take responsibility, it doesn't matter if things are your fault or are not, or are somebody else's fault. There's always something to blame. But you cannot empower yourself until you take responsibility for everything that happened to you throughout your life. Because once you take responsibility, then you can change the way you feel. So you will never get better if you keep blaming other people, and you keep blaming the universe, or you blame God, or you blame anybody else. There's no way to improve when you blame. So you'll be stuck on stress and sadness the rest of your life, unless you let it go, you take responsibility, and in some way you contributed to these bad experiences you have. Even if you don't think you did, you still have to take responsibility, because it is the only thing that you can control. Okay? And you're still partly responsible, because if you're punishing yourself or feeling stressed or feeling sad about it, that means you're in control of that suffering. So you're still contributing to your suffering, even if you didn't contribute to the situation. So that means your overall feeling, you're still responsible for it. So once you take responsibility, then you can start changing your life. And accepting and forgiving is taking that bag of problems and regrets and letting it go. That baggage will not allow you to be joyful and happy and live in peace without any sadness and without any stress. Okay? So let's go for the next one. The next one is to value yourself and recognize your value and self-worth as a human being and as a spiritual being. And this is important because when we are sad and stressed, we tend to devalue ourselves, right? We also value ourselves for position, for money, for power, for being good at something and being better than the others. There's no problem in being good at something. The problem is that you value yourself just because you think you're better than the others, because you're good at something. So there are two different ways of looking at it, right? If you value yourself for these material things or this position or this power or this money, that can be taken away from you. And that's not your real identity, because your real identity cannot be taken from you. When you value yourself for your beliefs, for your spiritual beliefs, for your moral beliefs, and even for those good habits you have, then no one can take those away from you. That's where your happiness, where your real happiness comes from. So, knowing your self-worth, knowing that you're valuable for your principles, your beliefs, your habits, and everything you do in your life, it's yours, and that makes you rich. That makes you a millionaire. No one with power, money, or all the position they have can really be happy just for that, because they know it will be taken away at some point. So valuing yourself for your spiritual beliefs is something eternal. All right? And you can feel rich and happy about it. Okay? So that's all for that one. The next one is to elevate yourself, elevate your value and your self-worth with education and awareness. Okay? How do you acquire awareness? You acquire awareness by education. And this video, what we're doing right now, is education. So how do we elevate our awareness? Elevating our awareness is knowing universal truth and being aware of this universal truth and believing in this universal truth. Like these 3 steps I mentioned before, those are universal rules of life and of the universe and all rules of the mind. So being aware of these rules, knowing this universal truth, gives you the power to change how you think, to change your thoughts at any time, and to start living a life of peace, of neutrality, of joy, and happiness. So once you fully understand that you can change your mind and you can change your thoughts and your emotions, once you understand that universal truth, you can adopt these 3 concepts we mentioned before, and you can move yourself from being sad and stressed, anxious, or depressed into neutrality, then into peace, joy, and happiness. And what better gift to give yourself than peace, joy, and happiness? There is no better gift in the world that anybody can give you than the one you can give yourself of peace, joy, and happiness. And that's gonna be all for this video. Remember to give yourself the best of yourself. And I'll see you on my next video.